What day is it? The March 9th, 2017 council meeting is now called to order. Tonight, our prayer and pledge will be led by the Reverend Monsignor Xavier Papu, pastor of St. Matthew's Catholic Church in Longview. Please rise.
Let us place ourselves in the powerful presence of God, imagining that we are called by Jesus himself to stay and gathered in the upper room where the Lord himself wants to fill every one of us with his powerful Spirit. The Lord himself says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds, and the one who knocks, the door will be opened." Which one of you would hand his son a stone when he asks for a loaf of bread, or a snake when he asks for a fish? If you then, who are wicked, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your heavenly Father give good things to those who ask of him? Do to others whatever you would have them do to you. This is the law and the prophets. God, our Creator, our dear Father, in your plan you formed us in your own image and likeness, and with glory and honor you crowned us. You have given us everything to govern and to grow towards perfection. You want us to use everything you created and love our brothers and sisters. Tonight, we thank you, Lord, for all the blessings we enjoy in the city of Longview, our mayor, our council members, all our city staff, and all who serve our city to be what it is today. Bless every one of them, Lord, and all their families. We bring before you especially all the elderly, all those who are sick, all those who are in the hospitals, all those who are lonely and who have no one to care for them. Protect especially our children and youth in every special way from the dangers of this world. God of power and might, wisdom and justice, through your authority, you rightly administered everything in the world. Laws are enacted, judgment is decreed. Assist with your Spirit our councilmen with the counsel and fortitude, our President and other government leaders of the United States of America, our mayor and our councilmen who gather this evening to specially serve this community in a very special way. May they always seek the ways of righteousness, justice, and mercy. Grant that they may be enabled by your powerful protection to lead our city of Longview and our country with honesty and integrity. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Now we will do the pledge to our flags. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Monsignor.
Thank you.
Tonight, our employee recognition, we're recognizing the Longview Police Department's training and recruiting section, which is made up of Sergeant Sean Pendleton and Officers Eric Hewitt and Danny Stroud. These officers are responsible for the hiring and training of the entire Longview police force. Due to their efforts, the Longview PD is fully staffed as of January this year. The training and recruiting section is responsible for 19 officers being hired in 2016 and the final 2 in January 2017 that fully staffed our PD. These officers spend several months with each recruit as they work on background investigations and each step of the training process. These items include a written test, an interview board, a polygraph examination, psychological examining, medical testing, and a background investigation that can take up to 60 days. 11 recruits are currently in basic police academies at both Kilgore College and Tyler Junior College. 2 other recruits are currently in the field training program. Over the next several months, all of these recruits should be out on the street serving and protecting our Longview community. Hiring and training new officers is only one facet of the training and recruiting section's job. They also provide in-house training to the Longview police officers. Officers, like other professions, are required to obtain continuing education hours. This section hosts many of these continuing education classes at the PD in order to save time and money. During the 2016 fiscal year, it would have cost the city $58,970 to send officers to all the training they were able to attend at the PD. So far in 2017, the savings has been close to $20,000. The officers making the training and recruiting section are constantly working to hire quality men and women as Longview officers and then maintain their skill level by providing quality training every year. Please come forward, gentlemen. Yes, sir. I just want to take a minute to recognize these officers for what they do, because if you heard, they train our police force, and that's a big job. But even more importantly, if you heard what we said, our police force as of January is actually at full capacity, which it's been a number of years since that has happened. And it's because you guys have been persistent, you've done the right thing, you've vetted people out, and you've got the officers in to complete our police force. And you all realize a full police force means an effective police force. And as in any job, when you are understaffed or undermanned, it makes it more difficult. And so I'm very pleased that this has come about. It's been a long process, and you guys have worked tirelessly to make this happen. So on behalf of the citizens of Longview, the city council, city manager, we say thank you for a job well done. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you all once again. We're now to citizen comment. I have a few speaker cards tonight. We'll start with Gary Ford.
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I want to thank the City of Longview for identifying our trail system as one of the major initiatives from the comprehensive plan. I also want to thank LEADCO for their generous donation for getting this new extension started. I've seen the effects that an extensive trail system can have for a community, for quality of life, economic development, a various number of other things. I've spoken to several of you as well as Public Works Director and Parks and Rec Director, and I understand your reasoning for wanting to use a concrete surface for this trail. What I'd like to suggest is you to consider adding a runner-friendly surface to areas where it's feasible, the higher areas and whatnot. There's a large population of runners in this community that don't use our current trail system because it is hard on their bodies, and concrete really doesn't help that situation. It also, for the long distances that a lot of people run, connecting these trails will obviously help that, but it won't solve the health issue of a runner-friendly surface. This new extension has a unique opportunity where it connects these two trails, and it runs through several retail districts, some of which are vacant, some of which are just in need of revitalization. Maximizing the number of runners that can come up and down these trails, I think, will inspire people to fill up some of those places. Attracting not just the casual runner or casual walker or occasional runner, but all runners, the long distance runners, the avid runners, several of which are represented here today. Can I just ask them if they'll all stand?
Sure.
So, and this is just a small portion.
And we're
of
not
them.
going to hear from every one of you all, just so you know that. That was your shot right there.
And so anyway, as you can see, this trail could be as busy as some of our major streets with runners, and could just attract a lot of new business and want along this extension if it appealed to all types of runners. It could put us on par with some of the larger running communities and set us apart from Tyler, Nacogdoches, Texarkana, Shreveport that don't have runner-friendly surface trails. So as a runner and as a large proponent of Longview, I'd just like to have y'all consider adding that and maximizing the use of this trail.
Thank you, Gary. Appreciate you. Noel Norwood. Sorry, Noel.
All right, I just want to thank you, Mayor Mack, and City Council members, and for allowing us to get up here and speak from the Longview sports and fitness clubs. I also want to thank some of you that we've spoken to personally, Steve Pirtle, Kristen Ishihara, and of course Mayor Mack, and other city employees that we've spoken to. Just thank you for responding to our emails and our phone calls and for letting us express our concern. Especially want to thank LEDCO for their concern and their interest on these trails and providing the funds for this first part of the Guthrie Creek extension. And also want to mention that I want to thank each one of you, at least those that I've communicated with and I've met with in a group, that you see our concern for these running trails being concrete. And we know that you understand our concern. I don't think there's any disagreement there necessarily, but the problem comes with the money and how we're going to do that. How can we meet our request? And so we thank you for taking time to listen to us. There are a lot of runners in Longview, as Gary mentioned, but as you look at the number of runners, whether it's large or small, some may say, well, that's a small percentage really of the population of Longview. So is it really prudent to spend a lot of time planning or a lot of money building these trails? But I submit to you that the effects of adding a running lane to these trails would help a lot of the citizens, if not a majority of the citizens of Longview. So adding these trails is not just a benefit for those of us runners that run almost on a daily basis, but will benefit the citizens of Longview in general. First of all, just because we get out and run on the streets a lot, obviously having a running lane on these trails would provide an alternative to the runners to have a better place to run, a safer place to run for the runners, and would keep us off the streets somewhat for the traffic. And so maybe less runners on the street, and so that would benefit just the general population for their safety, with the runners being out there, and for the runners' safety as well. Also, having a running lane and an alternative place for runners to run would make these trails more, would make them busier. There'd be more people on these trails, which which addresses maybe some safety issues that people have using these trails if they don't want to be out there alone or when it's not used that much. The more opportunities we have on these trails for people to be out there, the more people that are out on the trails, the safer the trails would be. And that's not just the runners, that's anybody who walks, that rollerblades, that maybe ride bikes or pushes a stroller. So it benefits everybody in that way. And then lastly, those individual companies that are businesses that do 5Ks for fundraising. There's a lot of 5K races. We have 2 or 3 a month. We have the half marathon and 5K coming up next week. And so there's always running going on. So if we have a good trails for runners where these 5K races can be run, I think we'll get a lot more participation, and that would benefit the different businesses, different charities that benefit from having these 5Ks. So having a running trail not only benefits us runners, we certainly want that, but it also benefits the citizens of Longview.
Thank you, Noel. Appreciate it. Rebecca Fight.
Hi. I think these men ahead of me did a really good job covering this topic, so I'm going to try to make it short and sweet. My name is Becca Fight, and I'm a fairly new resident to Longview, and I'm an active member in the running community. I'm asking you to please consider adding a trail made of a softer, more runner-friendly surface to run alongside the Guthrie Trail extension in the areas that are above the floodplain. We understand if we try to do it, incorporate this alongside the trail, the concrete trail in the floodplain, it may not be able to stay and it'll be more difficult to maintain. So if we could have just even a little bit of this trail provided, and that would be great. I have lived in 4 different cities in the last 8 years. Houston, Birmingham, Tyler, and now we're currently settled in Longview. Each time I've moved, I do extensive research concerning the resources and services of our new city and what it has to offer. What is of high interest to our family are safe areas to play and exercise outdoors. I look into areas I can train for my races, particularly the half marathon and marathon distance. Runners cover many miles of training during the week and enjoy running on different surfaces due to the impact hard surfaces have on our legs, our joints, and just our bodies in general. So we prefer softer surfaces such as asphalt, crushed granite, the cushy surface of a school track, and dirt trails. I have noticed that alongside concrete paths, there's always the grass is always worn down and there's always dirt exposed. And that's because runners choose to hop off the concrete and run in the dirt rather than running on the concrete trail. Although it's unavoidable, runners try to spend as little time as possible running on concrete. To my knowledge, there are no crushed granite trails provided in Northeast Texas. The Katy Trail in Dallas and the Rice University Loop in Houston are among the most popular of these trails. A crushed granite trail would be pretty cool to have in this community. And I know it'd be much appreciated by the citizens of Longview and prospective residents.
Thank you, Becca. Appreciate you. Christina Little.
Hi, my name is Christina Little. I am the secretary for the Longview Running Club. A fun lesson I learned this year from putting on the Kilgore to Longview race is that it is impossible to please everyone. Fortunately, this is not the case with the Longview Trail system. I am here to say thank you. Thank you for the beautiful and functional trail systems that already exist in Longview. Thank you for wanting to expand the trail system even further. Thank you for making active lifestyles in Longview a priority. All that you have already accomplished means so much to so many of us. If a runner-friendly surface gets added to some of the areas in the new system, well, that's just going to be icing on an already wonderful cake. Please know that the Longview Running Club is excited to help with the expense of the upkeep for this new surface, if it happens to come to pass. The club has a long history of putting on successful races, so helping with this expense will not be difficult for us. Again, Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for creating so many wonderful and creative opportunities for healthy living for the citizens of Longview.
Thank you, Christina. I have no more speaker cards. Does anyone else like to speak and fill out a card later? Mr. Floyd, please come forward.
Thank you, Mayor Mack and the council. Citizenry, when the gentleman, Mr. Ford, asked that the runners stand up, I didn't hear him clearly, but I definitely would have stood up had I known that, because I'm a runner. I believe in running. As a matter of fact, when I was in college at Prairie View has a jogging trail that's a 1 mile long exactly. I would normally run it 3 times a week, 11 times around every time, and it helped my grades very well. So I believe in running. Running is good for you in so many ways, and so I'm a runner, and I run now. I want to speak on behalf of Benny Jackson Junior Park, where I do my running now. And if you've been in the area, you probably see me running either in the park or up and down Lily Street. And so currently I do probably 6 to 10 miles a week running, probably 18 to 30 on the bicycle, and then I have to do my skateboarding too. So, but I get that in. But I do want to say to you something considering the surface. There it's asphalt, and it's good. But at this point, because of the heat and the water, it raises up and has those knots in the middle of it, different places. So I was just wondering if you had any kind of program to help that, because it's hard to run on that surface that's not flat. Especially part of my regimen is to run backwards, because it helps different ways for your body to be a better runner when you do run forward. And so I would like to see us do that. And again, I'd like to see more people get into running also. I think it helps us so much in so many different ways. Again, I always think it helps you both mentally, physically, so that you can be at your very best. So wherever you go, you'll be good, and you can attribute it to your running. All right, thank you a lot.
G. Floyd, you never cease to amaze me, my friend, no matter what. Will you please make sure you fill out a speaker card and hand it to the city secretary before it's over with? Thank you, sir. Anyone else? Thank you for the evening. Anybody else like to speak? Okay, that's all our speaker cards. I want to just thank you all for the way you presented yourself tonight. We appreciate that very much as a council. Thank you for your opportunity we have. Our next up is our public safety update. Chief Bishop.
Mayor Matt, council members, Mr. Willard. I have a couple things to update you on since our last update a few weeks ago. Back a few months ago, I come in one of my public safety updates, I announced that we were going to do a teen police academy to help build better relationships with the teens here in Longview. We had an overwhelming response. We had only room for 30 applicants, but we got 60 applications, so we decided to split it and run 2 academies. We have finished the first academy last week, and we graduated 26 graduates from that academy. Our next academy will start March 27th. Here are just some pictures from the academy and some of the presentations that we did with the youth and the teams that attended. Some of the topics that we covered, that we discussed, was becoming a police officer, how they could do that. We talked about use of force. We talked about traffic stops and encounters with law enforcement, demonstrations from our police canine. We talked about physical evidence and how we process some of our crime scenes. We talked about social media. They had an opportunity to utilize our driving and our shooting simulator during the course of this. They had a SWAT demonstration, and we talked to them about our Explorer program and how they can become more involved in scouting and in our Explorer program. Just kind of wanted to share with you, after that graduation of that first class, some of the quotes that come from the class on the evaluation forms at the end of the class. Informed us on what you need to become a police officer and what it takes. It was cool learning how to arrest someone. Loved how we were able to experience situations that policemen are in and how hard it can be to make the right decision. And then one of the last ones was, it was good that we reviewed what's going on now and talked about it as a class. So this turned out to be a very good venture for the police department, and we're looking forward to starting our second academy closer towards the end of the month here. And then we've seen some media attention on, I just want to remind everybody of our safe exchange zone that we have for those that buy and sell and trade different things over social media. Rather than meeting someone to exchange these items, we created a safe zone in front of the police department, be between the two signs that are posted like this. That location has 24 hours monitored video surveillance, and we'd like to encourage our citizens to use that area for that type of activity. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions of the chief? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Chief Steelman, before we get Chief Steelman up here, is anyone hot? Can we turn that? I'm sweating up here. I need either turn the air conditioner down or give me a cloth. My makeup's going to run. That was a joke. Chief Steelman,
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor Mack, members of council, Mr. Willard, thanks for the opportunity to update you on what's been happening in the fire department since we last met. Citizens may have already seen it, but we've undertaken our annual process of conducting fire hydrant maintenance across the city. This is something that we do every year in conjunction with Public Works. As the end users of the fire hydrant out there, even though it's a part of the waterworks system, it's important for us to not only know where these are located, to know their operational capability, so that we can identify any problems ahead of time, well ahead of a fire, and make sure that those get taken care of accordingly. So if our citizens are out seeing guys flushing hydrants, doing the annual maintenance on them, we'll just ask that a lot of these are in high traffic areas, and if you're driving by one of these and you see the fire truck and you see the guys out there working, just kind of use caution, slow down a little bit, and give these guys a little bit of room to do what they need to do on these fire hydrants. We're going to be working on this process probably through early fall. There's just under 4,000 fire hydrants in the city, so that, and accompanying with the rest of our increasing call volume, it takes us a little bit of time to work our way throughout the city systematically to get all of these fire hydrants checked. We have a promotional ceremony coming up on March the 20th. We'll be promoting 6 members of our fire department to various positions. All of these individuals have demonstrated upward mobility in the ranks of our department. This will be open to the public. The time frame will be 2 to 4. It will be held at our Fire Department Training Center on American Legion Boulevard. The public is certainly encouraged to attend. We also recognized this past week the retirement of Captain Mark Weaver. Mark Weaver was a 28-and-a-half-year employee of the City of Longview. He was actually one of the original people that came over with the EMS service when the city absorbed it from LeTourneau University. So I believe there's only one other individual still in the fire department that made that transition of the EMS coming into the fire department. Just want to give a quick shout out and wish Captain Weaver best of luck in his retirement and his new ventures that he's heading off into. And also, just a final reminder, this week we changed time. We're springing forward. It's always a good opportunity to change the batteries in your smoke detector. That really helps us out a lot when people are able to get advance warning of a fire in their residence and get out. There's nothing nicer than seeing a family of 4 standing out in the yard at 4 in the morning when their house is on fire. It takes a big burden off of us, understanding that we may not have to go in there and try and effect a rescue. So as you change your clocks on Saturday night, go ahead and buy some batteries sometime during the day on Saturday and pop some new batteries in your smoke detectors as well. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the chief? Thank you, Chief. Appreciate you. One note, Chief Bishop, we just want to recognize we missed the passing of your father this week. We know it's been hard on you guys, but I know he's very proud of you. We know we're thinking about you and praying for you. Thank you, sir. We're now at consent agenda. As in items on the consent agenda, people like pulled off for separate discussion.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're down to action item, consider an ordinance canceling the general election to fill the terms for council districts 3 and 4.
Move to approve.
Ms. Ballinger, would you make it official for us, please?
This ordinance is requested in order to cancel our May 6, 2017 general election for Districts 3 and 4. Our two unopposed candidates, Ms. Williams and Mrs. Ishihara, will be elected to office. And
Are you so happy you're crying?
I know, right? It's wonderful. The oath of office for them will be on March 11th, 2017, after the general election. You have any questions?
Any questions, Ms. Ballinger? Now we'll have the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ladies. Congratulations to both of you.
Do we have enough to vote?
Yeah,
You sure?
yeah, we got 5. Yeah, we got 5. Okay, we'll now consider a resolution authorizing and directing the city manager to execute, no, I'm sorry, a resolution accepting donation of $75,600 from Mr. Tom Chin. Chief Bishop.
Mayor, Matt, council members, Mr. Willard. A couple of weeks ago, in my public safety update, I talked to you a little bit about the fundraising efforts that have been going on to purchase ballistic vests for the officers. A couple of weeks ago, we held a reception for those that had made donations for the purchase of those vests. And at the time that we had that reception, we had raised a little over $59,000 had come in from the community to purchase 64 vests. During that reception, Mr. Tom Chin was present there, and during the presentation, he had made a request to us that he be allowed to make a donation in the amount of $75,600 to purchase the remaining 108 vests for the officers of the department, so that every officer in the department would have a vest and have that heavier ballistic protection when they're out there in the field. So I come before you tonight to ask for your approval of this donation and that amount from Mr. Chin.
Any discussion, council?
Amazing.
More than amazing. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And I believe Mr. Chin, Mr. Chin and his wife are present tonight, and I'd like us to come forward.
Tom, would you and Jill please come up? Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to take a moment to tell you about the incredible generosity that this couple has given to our city. As Chief Bishop has just announced, the Chins have donated $75,000 for these ballistic vests. What you may not remember is back last year, when we had our Go Giver fund, the Chins donated over $30,000 to equip all of our police officers and the sheriff's deputies and officers with body cameras. So they have given a ton of money to this community because they love this community and because they can. And they are, if you don't know these people, get to know them. These are the most kind, generous, caring people that you'll ever meet. And I've known Tom for a long time and Jill as well. And I couldn't be more proud to stand up here. I don't deserve to be up here on the stage with them. This is their stage. And I can tell you, this is what it's all about in Longview. And I can say from the bottom of my heart, y'all are awesome. Same things?
Well, the only thing I can say in my highlight of ups and downs and living around here in Longview, this is like one of the top of the, like coming up the ranks. I consider this, I'm really blessed to be able to do this, and I can't think of a better thing to be doing, so I'm really grateful and thankful to be able to do it.
Thank you.
If I could, before you leave, I have a certificate of appreciation in recognition and appreciation for your donation to the Longview Police Department for the purchase of ballistic vests. And I know every officer and every spouse of every officer certainly appreciates what you've done to help protect the officers. So thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, we appreciate it.
We are now to items of community interest. Can our first order of business be to excuse Mr. Moore?
Move to approve Councilmember Moore
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Mr. Moore is excused.
with hesitation.
Ms. Snoddy had to leave, so we will continue on. Ms. Williams?
Yes, yesterday, good evening, everyone. Yesterday, I had the pleasure of attending a meeting of the Arklatex Corridor Council. Long-distance train service, rail service, has been something that a group has been working on, this group between Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, for many years, and we're finally almost there. And if you'll notice, looking at the map, the current thing that we're working on is the I-20 corridor long-distance passenger rail connection from Fort Worth to New York City. Well, guess where that train comes right through? Longview, Texas. How about that? So this is something that we are really moving ahead with. One of the vice presidents of Amtrak was at the meeting as well and has co-signed on it, and we're continuing to move forward. They will also be meeting with our mayor soon and mayors across the area to ensure that people understand the importance of having alternative means of transportation. Longview was very well represented. We had our transportation liaison, Dr. Johnson, there, and also Scott Stevens from Lewis, Public Transit. So we were and myself, and we were very, very well represented. So keep an eye on that. Next, Texas Eagle, our train here in Longview, Texas. First 4 months of the fiscal year of 2017, October 2016 to January of 2017, ridership is up 23.2%. Revenue is up 11%. So what does that say? We are number one right out of Longview, Texas. And a lot of people don't understand our local rail system, the revenue management team is based in Longview, Texas. If you've never been on the train, if you don't know where it's located, please call me or just get on the train and take a day trip. It will change your thought process because we all know as we move ahead in this country, we need a better infrastructure program, but we also need some alternatives. And the millennials are teaching me that's important, and that's what they care about. Next, luck of the draw, Rotary, Longview Rotary Club. I'm a proud Rotarian. Our luck of the draw will be next Saturday at Mod Cobb Convention Center. We are actually raffling off a 2012 Camaro. That looks hot, right? Love that for myself, but I don't know, maybe a little old now. But anyway, we'd love to have you come. What do you think, Mayor? He's over there snoodling
look good in that.
I look good in it. We'd love to have you come and participate. The tickets are $100 for 2 people, and I'm sure I hope everyone knows what a drawdown is. But we have a lot of fun. We'll have a lot of games this year, a lot of activities, and it's a great environment. Last but not least, East Texas Christian School. I have that heart up there, and I forgot to bring it out. I want to give a huge shout out to Ms. Holly Sikorsky's 6th grade class. They send me these hearts with these beautiful scriptures on there all the time. And recently, they sent me a bag of my favorite candy, Jolly Ranchers. I don't do chocolate. I'm allergic. So I just want to say thank you to the class that I've adopted. It's been so much fun. And I'll be out there again soon because I tell you, those kids keep me on my toes. So thank you, Ms. Holly, and your class, and thank you for continuing to pray for me. That's it.
Ms. Ishihara?
Don't have anything.
Mr. Wright?
I do. I'd like to, we have many fine groups in this city who work to help people, and I want to recognize a group of women local women that have gotten together, and they've created an organization called Blue Skies Group. And tonight, every month, they get together and pool resources, and they've helped set up family residences at Buckner, at the new Buckner place down on High Street. They've done a lot of different things. Last night, they cooked a bunch of food, and tonight they're over at the House of Disciples feeding them. There's just a lot of great groups in this city, and they don't always get noticed, so I just wanted to recognize one of them tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. Mr. Pirtle?
I had my first town hall meeting March 28th, so pray for me. Anyway, that's all I got.
Thank you. Mr. Willard?
Nothing, thank you.
I have a few things tonight. Where are we going first? Okay. March 13th to 17th is Spring GEEK Week at the Longview Library. It's a great place for children to have fun and learn. For a full list of activities, go to longviewtexas.gov/library. It's that time again, Downtown Live at 5. This year we will be having 8 spring concerts. It's free and it starts March 24th. First up is King Richard and the Bayou Boys. If you all do not attend this, you should. It is such a fun time to be out in Longview. It's free. You get to see people. Great entertainment. There's food and beverage available. It's really a great way to get out and communicate with your residents and just see what Longview is doing. So take a time to go out and experience this. It is really a lot of fun. I try to go every single Friday night that I'm in town, and it has never once disappointed me. So give it a shot. Longview Green and Clean will be Saturday, April 8th. We need volunteers. To sign up, go email klb@longviewtexas.gov. The City Boards and Commissioners are taking applications for various committees. Please have those applications in by April the 28th. Daylight savings time starts Sunday, so don't forget to set your clocks forward 1 hour. Continue to help honor American veterans. It's so easy to donate. Go to vetplaza.org. We'll have a little video. This is to help complete the Veterans Plaza at Teague Park. These veterans have worked so hard to make Teague Park number one, a show place, but an honor to all of those who have fought and died in wars for our freedom. So, residents, I continue to encourage you, and I'll continue to encourage you until this debt has been paid. Get online, give $5. Give $5 and we'll make it. So we can all do that. They're $60,000 short. Please understand, these veterans have given everything for us, and they really receive nothing in return. And understand this, most of these veterans have really no form or no way to go out and raise money. That's just not what they do. So they're relying on us as citizens to step up and help in this form. If you haven't been out to Teague Park, please take 5. If you'll drive out there and you look at those memorials at Teague Park, I'll assure you'll give more than $5. It's something to behold. It will bring a tear to your eye, and it should, because they deserve every bit of this. So I will keep doing this every meeting until this goal has been met. So if you get tired of it, give us $5. Upcoming events. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe at Arts View Children's Theater, March 9th through the 12th. If you haven't gone to those productions, you should. Those are so wonderful to go, and it's great entertainment for our community. At the Belcher, we have Jeanne and Robertson on March the 10th. For any information on any of these events, please check out the calendar or visit longviewtexas.com to learn more. What's next? Survey. Okay, I'm not going to let this go. I'm going to keep beating this drum also, because I think, once again, public safety and public awareness are very important for our community. So which of the following agencies is working with Longview Police Department to address crime in this community? And your choices are, you can read them. I'll give you the answers. DEA, DPS, Gray County Sheriff's Office, 6% said that. Well, guess what? They were correct. DPS, DEA, Gray County Sheriff's Office, and the ATF, 7%. Guess what? They're correct too. DPS, DEA, Gray County Sheriff's Office, FBI, 20%. They're correct too. The answer is all of the above. Every one of these agencies are working with our police officers and our police force to combat the crime in this community. And they work every single day. They never stop, and they will never stop until we have no more crime, which will never happen. So that means they will never stop. So remember that. They will never stop. You get to rest. You get to go home because your job is done. Their job will never, ever be done. So let's don't kid ourselves. Remember what they do and what they sacrifice. And that's why the gifts of the chins become even more important, because they're fighting a violent industry when it comes to drugs. So we thank you, but remember to support your local law enforcement, police and fire. They're out there every day for our benefit and for our protection, because when they're out there, you don't have to be, and I don't want to be. So thank you to all those involved with this endeavor. And thanks for taking the survey. You know, once again, I don't think it's I don't think you can ever repeat enough how important it is to know what's going on in our community. So the more we can get people understanding what's going on, education is knowledge, knowledge is power. So we'll keep doing that. My next one's kind of a fun one. What did you give up for Lent? Boy, did I get some crazy answers on this one. First of all, a lot of people don't celebrate Lent, and I get that. Not everybody is of that religious predilection, and I'm not either, but I always give something up for Lent just because I like to see if I can do it. It is really amazing, some of the things people give up. Can't read some of them because it's not appropriate, which kind of surprised me a little bit. But, we got the normal ones, sodas, sugar. I like this one, taxes. They give up taxes for Lent. I don't know how, but it's good. Fake news. We give up fake news for Lent. It's really interesting. And I did give something up for Lent. I gave up foul language. And I'm working really hard on that to make sure my language stays very appropriate. And it doesn't happen much in public. Sometimes it happens in private, but I'm doing my best. And I'm 9 days in, I'm still on track. So join me in doing something. Either give something up or add something. It'll make you a better person. It's going to make me a better person. Okay. Scholarship. And I got to come back to some other stuff I've already looked over. Remember, Mayor Mack Scholarship is in process. We give 4 $1,250 scholarships to seniors from Longview High School, Pine Tree High School, Spring Hill High School, and Hallsville High School. You have to be a resident of Longview. You must be a graduating senior. All you have to do is fill out the application and write a one-page essay on what you think you could do to make Longview better or why Longview is already getting better. Get the application by March 31st. I'll be selecting the applicants and probably reading them off in the early May council meeting. I look forward to these essays. Our students are brilliant. If I could share every essay with you all, I would, because it's amazing what these high schoolers are thinking these days. It's very encouraging that they're on the path that they're on. So I'm excited about that. Please talk to your family, your friends, your kids, your neighbors. Get an application. I'd love to read their application. A few other things. I had a wonderful letter sent to me from Casey Robertson from Longview Regional Hospital. He's the CEO at Longview Regional Hospital. It's very quick and simple. Wanted to send you guys a note about Lear Park. We played our first City League game out there yesterday, and I couldn't believe what a nice, clean, and organized park it is. We are fortunate something like that exists in Longview. I'm sure there was a large combination of people who made that park happen and maintain it and deserve to be thanked. But I'll start by saying thank you to the two of you. He addressed this to myself and Scott Herron. For both of you had the involvement and continue to have a lot to do with this park. And, if you haven't been out to Lear Park lately, go out and enjoy it. Springtime, baseball is going on, soccer's going on, softball's going on. Great place to go out and enjoy what Longview has to offer. It's a wonderful place to be. I am in the process of arranging a mayor's task force on the homeless. This is something that needs to be addressed in our community because it's an issue in our community. And it's something we always want to pretend doesn't exist, but it does exist. So I'm going to form a mayor's task force. I have already invited people to be involved in this task force, people who have a stake in this, people who do this, people who I think can have an effect on what we're doing for our homeless people in this community. Because if you'll understand, the first step is we have to define what the role of city government is in providing help to a community, whether it be residents with a home or residents without a home. Because regardless, the role should be the same. It's the protection of the people. And that's what this task force is going to be about. It's going to be about how do we go about protecting the citizens of Longview, both the homeless and those with homes. And so I anticipate this will be a wonderful discussion, a lively discussion. There'll be a lot of interesting viewpoints. But my goal is to bring the people together that can make a change in how we're doing things. Because right now, we're not doing a good job by the fact that our homeless numbers are growing. And our focus should be to decrease our homeless population by giving them chances and opportunities. So this task force will be set up. We will start having meetings in the next week or two, and we will be bringing those meeting progresses back to you all as a community. So thank you for that indulgence. The next thing I want to read to you is a little thing that's on my mind. As you can imagine, every day I am part of conversations on what Longview ought to do about this and that. We have heard some of this tonight about the folks who desire for Longview to have a running trail. I've heard it recently about how we ought to handle the homeless population, which we're going to address that. Some people think we need to offer the homeless more help. Some people think we should offer them less help. We offer them too much help. I've heard it on what restaurants we ought to bring to town, as if we have any control over that. I've heard it about what we ought to do to improve downtown. I want to take this time to remind everyone that the role of government from the top all the way down to the bottom is very simple. It's the protection of its people. That protection is offered in many forms, through law enforcement, through health inspections, through fire protection, through ensuring we have clean water, and through permitting with new businesses that come to town. Our role as city government is simple. It is to protect our residents, nothing more, nothing less. Now, on that note, I was very surprised to hear that our own local newspaper today, who have told me that they believe their job is to help improve Longview, printed an editorial alleging that you guys, and I speak directly to our city employees in attendance tonight and the city council, that we have essentially given a blank check to developers who desire to bring a shopping center to Longview. And that is simply not true. It's disingenuous and it's dishonest. It is not true. I want to use this opportunity to tell our city employees, our staff, and my fellow city council members how much I appreciate them and their hard work, and to remind everyone else the specifics behind this potential development. Some years ago, the Cargill family generously deeded property to the City of Longview for the use of a park, Hensley Park, at the intersection of Hawkins and Eastman Road. Within this deed, there was a provision that the Cargill family could repurchase the land back to the City of Longview in the future if the residents of Longview would allow it. In 2015, this request was presented to us. Upon review by the city's legal department and meetings with the Cargill family and the potential buyers of the land, it was decided the decision must be taken to the voters, and that if and only if Hensley Park were to be sold, a newer, better Hensley Park must be constructed at no cost to the taxpayers in order to replace the current Hensley Park. The vote was taken to the city. It was approved, and the city now has the option to sell the park back to the Cargill family. It is anticipated that the Cargill family will then sell the property to a developer who will then construct a shopping center at that location. But understand something. What was voted on was an opportunity. It was not a guarantee that any of this would occur. It was an opportunity for the city to sell the property back to the Cargills, who would then sell it to a private developer. If Hensley Park is never sold back to the Cargills, we are still in great situation. We still own Hensley Park. And our role here is to protect the residents of Longview, as we are doing, so we don't get something less than what was guaranteed to us. And we guarantee you that we would not do this unless we would have a better park than we already have. We do not get to demand or to direct. That is not the role of city government. We cannot do, and all we can do is allow things to occur in accordance with our rules and our ordinances. We are not the financial underwriters who determine whether or not a developer is financially able to invest here, nor do we get to dictate timelines in which they develop. That is not the role of government. As leader of this city, who is responsible for 850 plus employees, and the leader of this governing body that I sit before, I'm not going to sit back and let people throw darts at you for things that are just not true. I see how hard you all work. I see the integrity in your work. And when I see things that are not true being said or written about you all, I'm going to call it out. Because this city deserves better, and you deserve better. Thank you for your indulgence and listening to me. Now I'm really sweating. We will now go into executive session to consult with the city attorney under the Texas Government Code under section 551.071. We will not come back after the session is over with. This meeting is adjourned.